was my grandfather. That was Dixie's second husband. Ralph wasn't Bauer. It was her real husband, and I never knew about him, but I knew about Ralph. Ralph was a great guy, and I won't go into detail, but he's the one. Ralph, my grandfather, is why I'm a Republican, is because of my grandfather Ralph, because he would always make me watch the Republican convention in the 1970s. We'd always watch the telethon. They used to have telethons for the Republican and Democrat Party for raising money. It's so funny. And so Dixie lived up on the hill, and she had horses and she had everything. And so then my grandma Ina lived down the hill, just like 5 miles right down the hill from where Dixie lived. And she had horses, and then Grandma Burley, which was Ina's mother, lived with Dixie until Ina died, or Grandma Burley died. I think when she was 90 or something. And so they lived in this old-fashioned, I mean, this house was probably built in 1890 maybe. Oh, it was a beautiful house. This house was just everything. I mean, it was the classical house of the 1900s, okay? It was the first house in Crooksville that had a running toilet and a shower. The upstairs, there was an upstairs bathroom. No downstairs bathroom, only upstairs bathroom. It was the only one. And I used to love to go to Ina's house. You know, there are so many memories. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so here we go. Everyone posts their age for a free car. Now, I'm not going to give a free car for your age. Where does he think all this stuff is coming from? But that's why, you know, some of these cars, some people might have driven this car, okay? They might think this is their, you know, that this was their favorite car. You know what I'm saying? That's the 62 Bel Air, okay? Now, another car that was classic in those days, I wish they'd come out with it, is a Mercury. A Ford Mercury. Now, it's similar to the Falcon. It's just named Mercury. And my grandma had a black Ford Mercury. And my grandfather Ralph, my grandfather Ralph was in the 1920s, Ralph was a class, I mean, think about it. Ralph, he grew up in the 20s, okay? So, you know, he was born in like 1912, I think. And in 1920s, cars were still, you know, they were still growing. And he was a Class A mechanic in Ohio. He was the #1 mechanic in Ohio for Ford. You believe that? Grandpa Ralph. Ralph Bowers. His name was Ralph Bowers. That was Ralph Bowers. Yes, sirree. Ralph Bowers. Yep, sirree. You got the like, you know, not a lot of... Now, see, the Thunderbolt, that wasn't a popular car because that was only available for races. Now, your Plymouth Fury, that's a 1970 Plymouth Fury. 78, that was the year I went in the Navy. They don't have a lot of the large body cars that were made in the 60s. The real popular cars in the 60s were the 1962 Plymouth or the Chevy Bel Air. Unfortunately, this was the car. I'm sorry, yeah, the Chevy Bel Air. And those were classic cars. Now, I mean, this car, the 1970 Mustang, this came out in 1965, the Fastback, okay? This car revolutionized how we were doing